Well, February was kind of a crazy month as far as fishing goes, weather and all that different stuff. But, it's the 1st of March, and this is your first Friday fish report. I'm not going to lie, there was one day out there that I got skunked. So, yeah, it is getting better though. The lower Kern River right now is fishing as good as I have seen it fish in years. The flows have been nice and steady this last month. The fish are in the river. Department of Fish and Game are stocking the river. Right now, your best bet if you want to get out there and you want to catch some fish, you can catch a lot of fish right around Upper Rich Bar. If you want to catch some quality fish, move up towards Keysville, up above Democrat. And there's some really good fishing happening right now. If you want to get out there and work the river down there below Keysville, you can find some good quality fish. Might take you a little while to find them. You might only catch one in the entire day, but we've had some good 20, 22-inch fish coming out of the river right there. Get over, if you can, get over on the old Kern Canyon Road. Hobo Campground, Miracle Hot Springs, Remington area. There's been some really good fishing going on in right there. Also, the smallmouth bass, they're starting to get really good in that area. So just go out there. A variety of things are working. Salmon eggs, power bait, mainly garlic scented power bait, flesh colored, and red salmon eggs. So that's kind of what it is. I went out there with like some yellow and some orange and some different color salmon eggs, some little shiny ones and all that stuff. Didn't do very well, but as soon as I threw on, I'm a big Potskis fan, Red Balls of Fire. As soon as I threw some of those on, hooked up on a fish. So everybody else, if you're out there fly fishing, nymphs are working great. I'm ashamed to say it a little bit, but I've been a huge mop fly fan lately. I don't know what it is. They're just picking it up and they're just going with it. No matter what I put on, I throw on a mop fly. If you want to throw a dropper rig, then I usually use a mop fly as my dropper, and then I'll put on like either a pink Kern candy or some type of perdigon or soft hackle hare's ear. But a pink hot spot, I don't know what it is, if it catches their attention and then they go after the mop fly. But mop fly by itself, not so good, but you throw on a rig like I just said, and you start hooking up on fish. So mice tails, mini jigs, any of the tube jigs and things like that are also working. White, pinks are doing very well. Chartreuse is doing very well. So just get out there and give it a try. I haven't thrown many lures out there, but trout imitation lures, anything with those, that type of coloration is doing really well. And from what I hear, not me personally, but from somebody that I personally know, those lures are doing really well for the smallmouth bass. Crappies in the lower Kern, haven't caught any, haven't heard. Tons of pike minnows if you want to go out there and catch those. No luck on catfish either this last month. So I'm hoping this next month, weather temperatures get a little bit better and we start to see some catfish in the lower Kern as well. So let's move on now. Let's talk about Lake Isabella. All right, one thing that I do want to talk about with Lake Isabella is the trout derby coming up. So that's coming up. That's March 23rd to 25th. They're going to be planning tons of trout for that. They're going to be tagged. If you want to, be a part of that, you can get your tickets just right here in Bakersfield. You can get your tickets at Cope's Tackle and Rod Shop. So go down there and see them. They can also put you on what's hitting really well, and they have a great weekly fish report if you need something in between my fish reports. So go down there, check them out. I'm not affiliated with them. I doubt they even know who I am. So anyway, let's get back to it. So the trout right now, if you want to get out there and you want large fish, your best bet is to go out there and start trolling. So trolling any type of needlefish or shiner or spoon, something like that is going to do pretty well. They're a little deeper right now, probably 30, 40 feet. But you can get out there with just some leaded line and you can make that happen. If you want to fish from shore, I recommend fishing probably, Wolford Heights area behind the old cemetery has been doing really well. I haven't seen much trout action, down around the dam or over on the other side as far as like South Lake and those different areas go. So keep that in mind. But if you get out there and you do catch some trout in those areas, please let me know, because I haven't been able to find them in that area. As far as bass goes, it really slowed down this last month. I think a lot of it has to do with, water rising and, just those different influxes of water coming into the lake, different temperatures and stuff. I do think that the bass action is going to start to pick up a little bit. They are focusing around structure, them and, crappies and things, getting ready. I think they're getting ready for the spawn is what's happening. And so they're starting to settle down around the structure. Once they get settled, it's going to be, game on. They're going to be all over everything. As far as that goes, I recommend drop shotting like a Senko worm or any other types of those rubber worms out there. What you want to do, the setup that you're looking for right now is to just cover a lot of ground. So just casting in different locations. So you want some sort of mobile rig that you can cast with, and like I said, cover a whole lot of area, because the fish aren't really moving around. So I don't think you're going to be able to, sit in one spot on the shore and fish that area and wait for fish to move in there. I just don't think that's going to happen right now. So you have to go find them. And like I said, those structures, if you want to know where those structures are, check out some of my, lake footage from the middle of July or August, and that'll show you where a lot of that structure is now that has been covered. Probably not from this last year. I would go back a couple years and some of my footage and try to look for that. Catfish and things. Catfish are really slow. Haven't heard a lot of catfish. Personally, I have not fished for them this last month. It's just not quite time yet. But this next month, it will be time. If you want to go after catfish, I recommend, some live shiners or some sort of live bait. Same thing with crappie too, live shiners and stuff. So probably need to be in a boat, and I would recommend about 20, 30 feet deep. Again, fishing structure, fishing any of that stuff. If you can find any of the, schools of shad and those little types of bait fish swimming around, you're going to find crappie, bass, catfish. You're going to find all of those fish there. If you can find the structure, then you're going to find some larger ambush type fish, some bigger catfish and crappie as well. So that's about it as far as Lake Isabella goes. It's going to get better, but depending on how this month is, we can get some snowfall late in the month. And if that melts off at a high rate, then it's going to shut the lake down for fishing too. So there you have it. Now moving on to the Upper Kern River, which is usually what I tend to focus on, but this last month, the Lower Kern has really been putting out some quality fish. So you might want to check that area out. But with the Trout Derby coming up, I usually focus, because I don't really fish the Trout Derby. There's too many people, and I don't like combat fishing out there with everyone. So when they're all out there at the lake, I tend to move up into the rivers. You want to focus on a lot of the campgrounds and those different areas that are accessible off of the roads if you're going for the stocked trout. If you want to get into the natives, fish between the campgrounds, fish in areas that are more difficult to get to. The fish right now are holding deep in the runs. A lot of that has to do with the water temperature. The last time I was up there, the water was right around 40, 42 degrees, which is really cold, even for trout. The ideal temperature is, 50, 55 degrees. And so when the fish starts to get a little lethargic when the water's down around 40. You can find them, but it happens later on in the day, and the higher up you go, the colder the water is. So kind of keep that in mind. My main focus area has been right around the Canal Creek area. You can either fish above or below that. You tend to get away from a lot of the people that are camping close to town to, fish the lake or to do all the other town stuff that's there. And you still get some of those stock trout as well. The water quality is good. Again, we had some clarity issues with some of these rains and a lot of stuff washing down, but the clarity is back. So get out there, start hitting those spots again. The water from here on out, I think, is going to warm up. The only difference that you're going to have and the only issue you're going to have are going to be, clarity issues. So if there's rain, if there's snow melt and all that different stuff, then the clarity changes and it's really hard to fish. Now, again, the Upper Kern River has been stocked regularly. So that 20-mile section between Kernville and Johnsondale, it's fishing excellent. I recommend getting out there if you're fishing just, spinning bait or conventional stuff. Just head out there with salmon eggs, garlic power bait, the little pink Garlic scented power balls have been doing really well. Mice tails, mini jigs, those things are doing well. Red worms and pinched night crawlers have also been doing really well if you float those. You have to imagine that every single time that there's a rain or a big heavy snowfall that melts and all that stuff, there are terrestrial worms and things that get caught up and they get washed down into the river, and that's what trout are feeding on, and so that's what they start to look for, especially after a big storm. So you want to throw something similar out there and just kind of go for it. 4-pound test or less, the water is really clear, so your line might spook some of those native trout, but I don't really think you're going to have a problem with line size and stocked trout. So keep that in mind. If you're up there and you're fly fishing, I am still recommending nymphs to everybody that I talk to. I've got some videos coming out this week. You can check those out. Drop a rig. If you watch my lower Kern River trout recommendations, it's basically the same type of rig. So drop a rig, mop fly, some sort of pink or something with a shiny hot spot. You might have to mess around with the depths a little bit. I had to switch from like indicator to tight lining and then back and forth throughout the day, depending on what was hitting. The stoneflies have been hatching, so the adults, you'll see some of those swallow, they're out there flying around. I've seen some mayflies. We might get some yellow sallies and things coming out. So I'm not going to say that we're not going to have any dry fly action this next month. I actually think there will be dry fly action. You just have to be in the right spot on the river at the right time, and it changes from day to day. I was out there fishing, did really well around 11 o'clock. There was a nice little hatch going on. A couple of days later, I was out there, and the hatch didn't happen until about 1:30. So if you're fishing all day, there's really no hurry, in my opinion, to get out there on the water really anytime before 9 or 10 o'clock. So take your time, go down. You can hit up the outpost right next to the fly shop, get a good breakfast, maybe hang around down there if you want, and then head up to the river. So afternoon bite has been a lot better than the morning bite, and I think it's going to be that way for the rest of the month. So this next month coming up, I will have some information on the wild section. I'm going to try to hit that up before heavy snow melt comes down and messes that up for a while. So I'm going to try to hit that this next month. So that should be in the April first Friday Fish Report, so look for that. If you guys are interested in some of my other stuff, make sure that you check that out. If this video helped you out, make sure you give it a like. If you would like to help support this channel, you can do your shopping down below, or send a super thanks. Memberships are active if you want some behind the scene content, access to early stuff, and maybe a little extra advice here and there. So make sure you check that out. All right, everybody. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.